Okay, so we've got barbarians whose primary abilities are like strength and constitution. They can fight unarmed, and they fight in melee pretty much all the time. And their core ability is to go into a rage. Druids are interesting because although they're a spellcaster and their primary ability is wisdom, you could play a druid with basically no stats at all because from level 2 they can turn into beasts, and when you turn into a beast, you get the physical characteristics of that beast. So you could have a strength of 4 or whatever, but you turn into a giant wolf, and now you have a strength of 16.
Handy.
Yeah, so druids, they have very powerful selection of spells as well that they use wisdom for. But this sort of shape-shifting ability is their main thing. We've got fighters. You can play fighters sort of any which way you want. You can have dexterity or strength, and then constitution. You can be an archer or a melee fighter, but they sort of cover. They're good at fighting, if as the name might suggest, and that's kind of the focus of what they do. But they're pretty good at that. Monks fight without any armor. They're sort of I guess think maybe Daredevil. They're sort of supernaturally slightly faster than other combatants. They make lots of attacks around with their fists, so they tend to deal less damage per hit, but they'll be making 2, 3, 4 hits a turn, where other people might be making 1.
Yeah.
And then we've sort of got some hybrid classes. So the paladin is a bit like a cross between a cleric and a fighter. They have a lot of hit points. They can cast some spells with charisma, and they can get up close and wear plate armor and punch things hard with fists or swords. A ranger is sort of like a hybrid, like rogue druid. They're relatively underpowered in 5th edition, but not so much so that it's a real problem. So they can have things like beast companions and stuff. The beast companion is a really neat idea, but they implemented it quite badly. So unfortunately, the beast does very little damage and dies really quickly. So you can't get too attached to it. And don't give it a name, I think, is the rule there. Rogues are the standard sort of thieves. They need dexterity. They like to sneak around. They get a lot of skills, so a bit like a bard in that sense. But they have no access to magic. They get sneak attack, so they're good at ambushing people. They also often make quite good sort of face characters because having a bit of charisma, they're good at skills, that kind of thing. And then we've got the 3 sort of main spellcasters. So sorcerers have an innate understanding of magic. They have their powers drawn from maybe one of their parents or grandparents was like a dragon or something, or maybe they fell through a plane of portal and fell through the plane of fire or something, and they inherited some of the abilities from there. So their casting ability is charisma because it's basically just a force of will. They don't cast spell. They don't understand them necessarily, but they know exactly what they like, how to cast the spells they have, and they just sort of pull it from within themselves. Warlocks also use charisma. They cast spells through a patron of some sort. So you might have made a deal with a literal devil. You might have made a deal with an angel, and everyone in between, I guess. Including Cthulhu-esque old ones and things like that. They grant you your powers, and you sort of call on them to do things for you. What you offered them is left up to you, but that's the sense of a warlock. And then wizards are sort of the most versatile spellcasters. They use intelligence, so they're the only class that really uses it as a central mechanic. They can cast pretty much any spell. They have an enormous spell book that they can choose which spells to prepare each day, and they can cast. So they've got this great flexibility there, and they're basically all about casting spells. Okay, so on the back of those, do people have a sense for what kind of class they might want to play?
I feel like I'm destined to be a monk, warrior, bird person-y monk, sounds amazing.
It does, yeah. I am I'm on board with that.
I'm going to go for a wild magic sorcerer.
Oh, amazing!
Oh, nice.
Eyeing up that wild surge table.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a great thing to have on your business card.
I'm sure there's a job title like that at Google.
I'm thinking a ranger,
Amazing, yeah.
halfling ranger.
Yeah. Are you going to be Are you going to be using a bow or what kind of combat style?
It's got to be a sword, though, hasn't it? Come on.
Yeah. If you so if you want to,
Stuart thinking I've got to say sword.
you can choose to use sort of smaller, lighter melee weapons, and use your dexterity score for them, or like bigger, like long swords and things, and use your strength for them.
Not one of those.
Yeah.
Here's one I made earlier.
I've got one as well.
Oh, here we go.
I'm glad to hear it.
Oh,
They're
Oh,
nice.
wow.
oh, we're all equipped. I have to get more. I have to get my own equipment. Okay, and then Deirdre, do you have a?
Yeah, I was thinking I might go for a druid.
Yes, amazing.
Oh, nice.
I like druids. A good.
A bugbear
Good
druid. This is just fantastic. I love it.
Perfect. Brilliant. Okay, so let's start from. Let's go alphabetical. So I think that's druid first then. You see. Okay, so what I'll do is I will let you guys. Yeah, okay. So we'll do spells first because I'll let people know what spells they need to pick, and then you guys can sort of pick them as the other classes are picking their things. So, a first level druid, you can now speak druidic, which is quite niche, but it might well come up. So you are able to cast spells. As a druid, you actually get access to just a big list of spells, so you don't need to pick them up front. I'll send you what spells you have access to after the session. But you do get to pick 2 cantrips. So on that spell, on that spell link that I sent, it's the D&D Beyond website. You can filter by class and level, I believe. So you can click on the druid symbol, and I think you can either just have them ordered by level in the table below, or I think you can actually filter by spell level as well. So you get to pick any 2 cantrips, and I think some of them are explained, some of them aren't. If the ones that aren't explained there, I can explain. I think, or you can try me if any of them sound interesting. So you get to pick 2 of those. Who else is a spellcaster? We have we have a wild mage. So as a sorcerer, you get to pick 4 cantrips, and you know 2 first level spells.
Okay.
And you've already picked your origin. With the wild magic origin, what I've done with the one in my campaign, mostly to give you the opportunity to roll on that cool table more often, is I think is it the what's it called, let me find its name. Tides of Chaos, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get the Tides of Chaos thing. So so what I did in my campaign, and we can do it this way or we can just do it sort of here and there, is you can basically, once you've used that ability, the next time you do cast on like a leveled sorcerer spell or first level or higher, you always get it back. But you also always roll on the table, if that makes sense.
Right.
I know it says like the DM can have you roll on it if you've used it, and so we just set it to that's part of the mechanic, so that it's more predictable for you. So that way, once you've used Tides of Chaos, the next time you cast a leveled spell, you're going to roll on the surge table, but you're going to get Tides of Chaos back So
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
and we've had it that the character in my campaign has made use of that in both directions. Sometimes never using it in the knowledge they don't want a wild surge, and sometimes using us like the Tides of Curse basically every single round, and just hoping that the surges don't decimate the entire party.
Doesn't age you 50 years or whatever it is. One of the
Exactly. Yeah,
de-age you. Isn't it?
yeah, it doesn't turn you into a baby, doesn't turn you into a plant. All of those things are good. I think the only one that's I think the worst one, and it's like a 2% chance to happen, is actually the fireball one. I think there's a chance that you cast a fireball on yourself.
Oh yes, that's right. Centered on yourself.
Yes, and I think that's the only one that really does sort of scary amounts of damage. Everything else mostly is bad for you or good for you. So I think sometimes you can be multicolored or turn into a plant or turn into a sheep. So
There's
which
one
is
way
always
you
good.
can make of feathers.
Yes, yeah. I think you can lose all your hair suddenly, and then it like grows back over like a day or something. Yeah, so it's a good mix. Okay, so monk is next in the alphabet, if I remember my alphabet. So let me see, what do you start with? So I think yours is quite nice and easy. As a monk, so you start with yes, so you start with unarmored defense. So your armor class will be equal to 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your wisdom modifier. So if you've got 16 dexterity, your modifier is +3, etc.
Okay.
So you basically work best when you're wearing nothing at all, but not armor. There's regular clothes is ideal.
I don't have to wear clothes, right?
You don't have to wear clothes. Yes, there might be some impact, for better or worse, on any charisma checks you make.
It would get me like surely +1 for surprise or something like that.
You've ambushed them. They didn't expect a naked man to leap out.
Get all the goblins rushing back, and I don't want to touch that.
Just stay away. Yeah, it's a good way to scare people off. And then the main thing you get is then you've got your unarmored defense and you have martial arts.
Excellent.
So you can use your dexterity instead of strength for attack and damage rolls when you're making melee attacks. Your fists do 1d4 damage, and basically whenever you take an attack action, you can make one extra unarmed strike as a bonus action.
Cool.
So from the get-go, you can always make 2 attacks every turn. You're limited to using like monk weapons, which I think are things like staffs. There's a small list, but don't worry about getting it all down. But that's the sort of the concept.
Cool.
There, and then we've got rangers.
Ranger.
Yeah. So for 1. What do you get? You get quite a lot of hit points. I know that. Oh yes. Okay. So you get favored enemies and natural explorers. So favored enemies, you sort of have a bonus to. You've studied a particular type of creature. You're very good at tracking them, hunting them, and sometimes talking to them if they can talk to you. So you have advantage in tracking them down and recalling information about them. You might even know some information about them off the bat. So the types you can choose from are aberrations, beasts, celestials, constructs, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, giants, monstrosities, oozes, plants, or undead. If you don't have to decide now, but if you have an idea of what kind of thing you'd like to be good at hunting, then
I'm thinking if we're playing in a kind of gothic horror, then undead.
Yep, I mean that sounds
sense.
sensible. Make sure that there's some zombies to track. And it'll give you can give you the ability to understand their weaknesses more easily as well. So yeah, that sounds like a good shout. And you also get a natural explorer, which you pick a terrain type, and basically you're very, very good at navigating that terrain. You can't get lost, I think, except by magic. You're able to identify dangers and ambushes much more easily when you're traveling through these kind of things. And I think they cover sort of what do we have? Oh yeah, we've got Arctic coasts, desert, forest, grassland, mountain, swamp, or the Underdark, which is basically all of the subterranean world. I think I'm not sure what type of terrain. I think it's quite a mix of terrain. We won't be in the Underdark very much, so but all the others, I imagine, will have the opportunity to traverse. So
Okay, I will pick mountains then.
nice. Okay. Brilliant. Okay.
Do I have any magic?
You do at level 2. You start getting sort of, I guess, Aragorn type magic. You have a sort of little bit while you swing your weapons. Brilliant. Yeah, I think that's all of those. So let's have a look. The next step will be. So have people picked the spells they want, or do they have any idea what spells they might like?
Just looking through the cantrips now.
Yeah, there's quite a long list of them. So.
Do I get any of those, or is mine more sort of nature magic?
You do, yeah. So, and I can let you know how many you'll get. So, by level 3, you will know 3 first level spells. So, if you want to have a look through the ranger spell table, which I think is quite similar to the druid one, then you get 3 first level spells. Rangers don't have cantrips, because cantrips are sort of like the wizard's version of hitting someone with a stick, I guess. And you have good sticks, so there's no need to throw little balls of fire at them. And who else gets spells?
I have a couple of cantrips.
Yes, and I can tell you how many you'll need for level 3, because that actually seems like a better way around of doing it, doesn't it? If I tell you how many you're going to need total. So you're good. As a druid, you will have 2 cantrips, and I'll just give you your spell list, because what druids do is every morning they can pick which spells they want to be able to cast for the day from a list. So you sort of have a bit of that flexibility that wizards have, and you don't have to pick them up front, which is quite nice. For sorcerers, I believe
I know a more limited number, I think, don't I?
you do, yeah. And by level 3, you will still only have 4 cantrips, and you will know 4 spells, but one of them can be up to 2 of them can be a second level spell.
Yeah.
So you have a few good abilities. Okay, and then we've got a couple of other choices between levels 1 and 3. So, Druid, you get to choose a circle that you feel represents what nature means to you, so to speak. Let's see, they've got them all listed here. So, let me get them from a different place. Okay, so we have a druid of, I think there's 5 different ones. So depending on, it sort of leans towards whether you want to focus on like shape-shifting or on spell casting, or on mushrooms, depending on your preference. So there's the druid circle of the spores, is a mushroom one, where effectively you've sort of allowed yourself to become infected with, I guess, a bit like I can't remember the name of it. A bit like cordyceps, the mushroom that infests ants and sort of takes control of their brain. You have willingly become slightly infected with them and formed like a symbiotic relationship, and you can use those spores to do weird stuff like briefly animate the corpses of the fallen, or damage people nearby. You sort of have this like aura of spores around you. There's also the Druid Circle of the Moon, which is this sort of shape-shifting circle. And that means you can turn into much more powerful animals, quite considerably more powerful than other druids, even at third level. I think that means you can turn into things like dire wolves at second level, as opposed to something like a cat, or an angry dog. The Druid Circle of the Land is more about casting spells, so you get an extra cantrip. You can also regenerate some of your spell slots once per day, a little bit like a wizard can. So they focus on the sort of spell casting thing and have more of them. There's a Druid of the Dreams, which I think is like a Fey thing. You sort of have a tie to the Fey Wild. I think you can recover hit points or something as a bonus. Yeah, hit points as a bonus action. You're sort of connected to the summer court of the Fae, the good aligned Fae, rather than the ones that drain souls and things. And then there's also the Circle of the Shepherd, which lets you speak to beasts and Fae, and it also lets you summon sort of spirits of beasts to help you in combat and to help you navigate obstacles.
This is hard. Like they all have their good qualities. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a good mix. I think the Druid Circle is an interesting selection, for sure. If you want a bit of time to decide, then I can go on to the monk options if you're not sure what's there.
The more I read,
I'm just gonna like pick real quick. I'm gonna pick the spores because it's the weirdest one, and I'm already.
Agreed. So you form the symbiosis with a living spore colony, and I think, I think you might be able to. Yeah, you can use your spores to attack people basically and things, which is neat. Brilliant. Okay, and we've got monk, haven't we?
Yeah, the more I'm reading through these, the more it feels like I've dropped out of Kung Fu Panda straight into a different world.
Yeah, perfect. Yes. Have any of them jumped out? Any subclasses jumped out?
Sorry, say again.
Any of the subclasses jumped out to you? Have you got a list of them, or?
I haven't got as far as the subclasses. I think.
I can run you through some of them.
Yeah, please do.
So, okay. So you've got quite a few options. You've got the Way of the Drunken Master, which is like a. I think it's based on a martial art, but I think the idea is that you make unpredictable, staggering movements. So there's a lot of sort of you can get up from prone very easily. You can move around without provoking attacks from other people. You can, I think, sometimes redirect attacks. Like I don't know if you get this by level 3, but you can sort of redirect attacks. You get proficiency in performance and things as well. So it's quite good for evading attacks and staying mobile, even on enemies' turn, even like on your turn. Normally, when you move away from an enemy, they get a free attack, but you can just avoid that entirely. There's also the Way of the Four Elements, which, if anyone's watched the last Airbender series, tries to mirror that. It's neat in theory, but you end up using, so monks have this resource called key points, which you can spend a key point to do an extra attack. You can spend a key point to move twice your speed, etc., etc.
Okay.
The problem with the 4 elements one is that you get the ability to cast things like burning hands or to manipulate elements, but it often costs you like an enormous amount of key points. So you get them back on a short rest, but you sort of get 1 or 2 like blowout things here or there rather than the consistency that you get with other classes. You've got the Way of the Kensai, which is you commit yourself to actually using like a blade or a weapon, and become much more proficient in using that. You have the Way of the Long Death, which I think is really as the name might imply, I think it's really difficult for you to die.
There.
Oh no, it's the other way around. You harvest the vitality from other creatures as they die. So it's less
slightly more macabre.
Yes, yeah. You're a Sith. So that's fine. But yeah, so when an enemy dies near you, you gain temporary hit points, quite a lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah, but so you're good at staying alive. Way of the Open Hand is quite neat because eventually it's a bit like it's in Kill Bill, isn't it, where you do the 5-point palm
exploding heart technique.
Yeah. So at level 3 you obviously don't have that because that would be a little bit imbalanced, but even from level 3, whenever you start making unarmed attacks, you can impose additional effects like knocking them over, pushing them 15 feet away, stopping them from taking reactions. So you can sort of, and eventually, I think their like cap feature is Quivering Palm, where you punch someone so hard that you can just choose to kill them in the next like 48 hours. So they've got the sort of the Kill Bill style thing.
Not gonna lie, that's super tempting.
Yeah, it's sort of the classic. I think that's the one that sort of remained through most of the editions of D&D. Like early edition monks had the ability to sort of one-hit kill things eventually with their fist. Shadow Monk is quite neat because you get access to quite a few sort of shadowy spells like Darkness, Dark Vision, Silence. Darkness is really neat and really annoying for everyone else because you can summon a cloud of impenetrable darkness around you, which is great, except you can't see through it, and neither can your ally. So, it's good for escape, and like there are some abilities that let you and only you see through it, which means you can create an entire room full of darkness, so all your allies can't fight, all your enemies can't fight, but you can. So like a squid. You just disperse it everywhere, and hopefully that helps you. And then the last one is sort of a bit more celestial feeling. It's the Way of the Sun Soul. This is the only one that gives you access to like ranged attacks. Or reliably, where instead of making unarmed attacks, you can actually shoot bolts of radiant light from your fists. And basically, it's interchangeable with your unarmed strike. So you can choose to shoot a bolt of energy, or you can choose to, I guess, a little bit sort of Dragon Ball Z-esque, or something along those lines. So you've got quite a lot of options.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go with the 5-point palm exploding heart technique. I feel that's, or it's like when Jack Black just sort of belly punches people in Kung Fu Panda.
Just one hit down.
That sounds. Let's do that.
Perfect. So you'll be sending enemies flying and falling over across the room, even at level 3.
Excellent. Perfect.
Yeah. And I think there's a few options that Ranger needs to choose. Sort of helps to start specializing. It helps to start specializing you. I think you get a fighting. Oh yeah, that's it. So you get a fighting style, which helps to inform what kind of physical combat you're going to be best at. So, for example, you can be an archer and you just get a flat +2 bonus to all attack rolls with ranged weapons, which is quite powerful. +2 to attack rolls is quite high. You can just be very good at defending yourself. You get +1 bonus to armor when you're wearing armor. You can be very good at wielding one weapon in one hand and do more damage with that. So you're like a duelist. You can also be good at 2-weapon fighting, where if you hold 2 light weapons, your offhand weapon does more damage. So it sort of depends what you want to start specializing in.
Ooh. I'm going to go with a single weapon.
Nice, a duelist.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So now, if you and actually that works quite well for halfling as well, because a lot of 2-handed weapons halflings can't wield effectively. So this way, you can wield like a long sword and do as much damage as if you were wielding like a great sword or something.
Cool.
So pack a surprising punch. And then at level 3, you get to pick a ranger conclave. So you're the sort of where you got your training as a ranger. So there's the one that is slightly underpowered but is also really cool is the Beastmaster one, where you get an animal companion. You get to pick what animal you have. They basically, when you're in combat, they can sort of do attacks or you can. So it's sort of an either or option, and eventually you get better at liaising with them. But yeah, you get like a pet. I think what are the choices? Like an ape, a bear, a boar. Yeah, they're not bad, but they have quite low hit points. You can be a lot of these. I don't really. There's not a lot of difference between some of these, but you can be like. Are they? Oh yeah. So a Gloomstalker, who is a ranger that specializes in hunting in the Underdark and hunting things in the shadows and in the dark. And I think, what does that give you? It gives you a bonus to your initiative rolls. It gives you dark vision. It increases it if you already have it. And while you're hiding in darkness, I think you're invisible to creatures that have dark vision. It's quite specific, but basically you're very good at hunting in the dark, even against creatures that would normally be able to see in the dark, which is quite neat. There's a Horizon Walker who is sort of like an interplanar ranger. They are able to detect planar portals within 1 mile of you. Quite a niche ability, but I think that one's just for flavor, really, because then you get you can draw energy from other planes when you make attacks to deal extra damage as a bonus action. So whenever you hit someone, you can deal extra force damage to them as part of a bonus. You can be a regular hunter, who are very good at sort of just tracking down more mundane monsters. So you get to pick a specialty there as to whether you're hunting like big creatures like giants, or whether you go after like hordes of creatures like kobolds or goblins. And then there's also the Monster Slayer, which I think is less specific than it sounds. Yeah, so basically you are good at getting a read on creatures that you're fighting against. So whatever you're coming up against, as an action, you can choose to learn about its immunities, its resistances, its vulnerabilities, that kind of thing. And you can also choose to designate a creature as like a target in combat and do extra damage to that one creature. So it's more like a monster studier. You're just very quick at figuring out weaknesses.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with the Gloom one.
Ooh, nice, yeah.
Nice.
You're going to be very good at hiding. hiding behind people, hiding in darkness.
Yeah.
Hiding everywhere.
just hide. Just hide. Let the monk go and kill everyone. And then
just images of you hiding in a dark corner while bodies fly everywhere as a flying bird, like just knocks people out of windows.
Pretty
I think
much.
I've decided I might be a peacock to go with my high charisma.
That's perfect. Amazing. Okay, yeah, I'm in. I'm buying what you're selling. Awesome. Okay, and then I think we've got our sorcerer abilities, but I think you picked a specialty at the start as a sorcerer, didn't you? But I believe you get magic. One of the reasons I wanted to start at third level, because sorcerers don't get very much until third level, do they? Oh yes, okay. So you get you have your flexible casting, so you can turn sorcery points into spell slots and vice versa to use larger ones to make more sorcery points and things. So how many do you get? You get 2 meta magic options. Okay. Do you know which meta magic options?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take subtle.
Very nice. Yeah.
And empowered.
Very nice. So yeah, amazing. Okay, so you're going to be doing a lot of damage, and you're going to be doing it silently, so that I can't counterspell it.
So what are they? Subtle and
so subtle spell means that he can now cast a spell using without any somatic or verbal components. So each spell has somatic, verbal, and material components. When you cast it, most of the time it doesn't matter that much as long as you have like a hand free. You can do any of those things. But obviously, a verbal component requires you to be able to vocalize, and a somatic component requires you have your hands free. By using subtle spell, you can remove those completely, which means that if you tied him up or gagged him or whatever, you just use a sorcery point, and now you can cast that spell anyway. It also means that if you're fighting a mage or something, normally they would use something like you saying something to indicate that they can like counter a spell or something.
Yeah. Cool.
An empowered spell lets him re-roll damage dice. If you roll 6 ones on, then you can choose to re-roll them and hopefully do more damage.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay. So.
I think I have my spells. Would you rather I email them to you, or?
Yeah, if you make a note of them, if you guys have made a note of the selections that I've got some of it here, but if you guys have a note of what you've got and then send it my way, I'll put a full character sheet together, and also then I'll like be able to know what your abilities are and stuff, so that I can not explicitly counter them, make them more interesting. Okay, and so then I think we're on to the flavor part. So I think the only sort of more formalized part of this is the backgrounds, because you get some basic abilities and bonuses from that. So has people got the backgrounds list there? So so a background is. Oh yes, also that's a good point. If anyone needs like break to the loo or to get a drink, then we can take a couple of minutes pause, because I remember that we're humans.
I could actually do with a very short break.
Perfect. Okay. Well, so do you want to just have a 5-minute 5-minute pause then, and I'll come back at should we say 7:30? Like 7 minutes?
Perfect.
Yeah, great.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant.
Good stuff.
Cool. See you in a sec, guys. Okay, welcome back. So just to summarize for for those watching at home, and for those watching at home. So we currently have 4 characters created. So we've got our we've got our bugbear druid of the Circle of the Spores, using a combination of long arms, enormous size, and symbiotic relationship with a fungal mushroom colony to subdue foes.
Through the day.
We have our peacock, Aarakocra, flying through the air and punching people out of windows.
I'm so happy with my life choices right now.
I think Yeah, you're going to look fabulous as well. It's very important. We have our half-elven sorcerer who dabbled in the wild magics a little bit too much one evening, and woke up randomly exploding or summoning sheep and plant pops.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we've got our halfling who will probably remain invisible, a halfling ranger who will probably remain invisible for the entire campaign, but is actually very adept with the longsword.
Just run out of the shadows, hack them through the legs, and
And you were never there.
Works
Who
for
was
me.
that? It must have been the flying peacock. You must have taken my legs. Brilliant. Okay. So on to backgrounds, onto some of the fleshing out of these characters. So has anyone had any thoughts? What I think the background is sort of, I guess it's your life before adventuring. It doesn't necessarily include your call to adventure, but it's what it was before you became an adventurer. And we've got the list of them there. So does anyone have any ideas about what they want to be or have been?
I was thinking of a far traveler.
Oh yeah.
So basically just a wanderer, almost a bit like a sword for hire occasionally.
Yeah. I like that.
Just exploring strange new lands and boldly going where no one has gone before.
Amazing. So so you sort of you've never really you've just sort of spent your time wandering, hiring yourself out for do you do that for, do you have particular causes that your character likes to get involved with, or is it anything, is it sort of a Geralt of Rivia, anything for money?
No, I'm gonna play fairly good. So I'm gonna say like hunting down monsters to save the village children, kind of. Please pay me, but I'll probably do it for free as long as you can do you eat, sort of thing.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Yeah. So you're sort of a roving monster hunter, but if you have to, you'd help them out anyway, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So you've already made some friends along the way. Okay. Who's next?
I'm liking the look of Haunted One.
Yes.
You're haunted by something so terrible that you dare not speak of it.
Oh no.
You've tried to bury it and run away from it, but to no avail. Whatever this thing is that haunts you can't be slain with a sword or banished with a spell. It might come to you as a shadow on the wall, a blood-curdling nightmare, a memory that refuses to die. Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Perfectly in line with the colourful peacock that you are.
Powerful haunted peacock.
Maybe you've only got half of a tail, and the terrible thing that haunts you owns the rest of your feathers.
Yes, let's go with that. That sounds great. Let's have that.
So
I hide it behind my imperious aloofness.
Yes.
I like it. Okay. So with that, you've got the option of rolling a d10 for a harrowing event. If you say once, or if you've got one in mind, then you can use that, or it can stay mysterious. It's up to you.
Let's see. So, what was? I was thinking, is it something like having allowed half of my order or whatever to be completely massacred by a terrible villain, and I ran away or abandoned them?
Yeah.
Yeah, have that.
A tale of sort of cowardice when faced with a huge threat.
With true adversity, yeah.
Yes. you were tested and you found yourself wanting.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. Picturing this as a peacock monk as well, so quite an image. Okay, brilliant. Who's next?
I'd
Yeah.
quite like to be a gambler.
Amazing.
But what background would you like?
That's the
Perfect. Okay.
I can't because I don't have acquisitions incorporated. I can't see what that involves.
Yes, I'll get it up.
Okay, but it kind of fits with my spells and kind of some of the other bits. So
Perfect. So you're sort of is that tied into how did you get your wild magic powers?
at a very bad game of dice where I've got average dexterity and I tried to cheat and got caught, and as they were going to beat me up, my wild magic saved me.
Amazing. So is that the moment that it sort of brought out?
It exploded from me in that moment of extreme embarrassment and stress.
And what spell was born from that?
I
What did you cast?
suspect it was Friends.
It's like suddenly they're sort of all looming over you, and suddenly they just pull you back up off the floor, say, "Oh, I'm really sorry about that." And you're
Yeah, exactly. Next time.
It's like, "Oh, no problem." Brilliant. Did you stick around for because I think when it wears out, they sort of remember, don't they? Did you stick around to see the?
I stuck around until it started to wear off, and then realised I needed to leave. Yeah, I was totally clueless as to what was going on. I was like, "Oh, maybe my luck is in."
Then their eyes all start to narrow, and you realise
They went, "Wait a minute," and I was like,
"Oh, sorry." Brilliant. Okay. Okay, Deirdre.
Yeah, I think I'd quite like to be a folk hero.
Oh, amazing! Yeah.
Oh, nice.
They sing of this bugbear up and down the land.
Yeah,
That's
this
really
kind of the mushroomy bugbear.
The mushroomy bugbear. Let me see what you. Okay, yeah, I see. So, already the people of your home village regard you as their champion, and your destiny calls you to stand against the tyrants and monsters that threaten the common folk everywhere. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So, what was your sort of defining event then? What made you this hero that your the villagers sing of?
I'm looking at them all. I might just roll.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
Yeah, by all means.
Because it's fun. D10. Okay, that's 2. So it didn't really give the option for 1.
Oh yes, but you can pick between 7 and 8 if.
I trained the peasantry to use farm implements as weapons against a tyrant's soldiers.
Amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing I would do.
Yeah. just as you're walking through any town, really, it's good to train the local farmers in weapons of war. How did you get connected with your symbiotic fungus?
It was actually when I was learning about farming implements. Because I encountered them kind of among the local flora. And we just made friends, and now we just hang out all the time. It's great.
Hit it off, That's right. Just one day they're like, "Do you want to be a symbiote?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Why not?
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
You're a friendly mushroom. Brilliant. Okay. Excellent. So then we've got the option for some personality traits and things. So again, you can roll on these, or I think each one has. Let's start with Far Traveler because I've got that here. So each one of these can come with a sort of a personality trait or an ideal. We'll do bonds separately. So Far Traveler, what have we got here? We've got. There's a question as do you have a sense from what you're as a Far Traveler? Do you have a sense of where you actually are from originally?
I was just having a look at those. None of them really stand out as far as halflings go.
Yeah. Yeah, they're quite eclectic, aren't they?
Yeah.
So were you more from sort of more humble beginnings than some of these insane?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a village somewhere, really, somewhere far away. Not necessarily any of these, if that's all right.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. What made you leave the village?
Just wanderlust.
Yeah.
Just always wanted to see more than my little village. So went to the next town, and then went to the next town, and then just basically kept going. Didn't go back.
Amazing. A bit like the sort of Frodo motivation.
Yeah. Let's just see what happens next.
Awesome. Okay. So personality traits. So have you got that? I think you got this background.
Definitely number one. Zero concept of personal space.
And it helps with hiding, right?
Yeah,
Well, exactly.
you're all covered to me.
And you just, exactly. I'm in the peacock's tail. I'm on the bugbear's back. It's just it's fine.
What does it
They
matter?
don't even know I'm there.
Yeah, they literally won't. Sometimes it's a bit of a problem, if you're on their back, they lie down. Bugbears are quite heavy.
Well, yeah, I'm quite dexterous though. I'll just nip off. It'll be fine.
And what about ideals? If any of these feel fitting, then
halflings are usually quite cheerful, friendly people anyway. So, number one, open. I have much to learn from the kindly folk I meet along my way.
Yeah, so it's like you're building up experiences. So having meeting great people, killing their monsters for them, invading their space.
Oh, just standing a bit too close.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that inch closer than you really wanted. Perfect. Okay. Let's have a look. So we've got next. I don't have the. Let's go with folk hero because that's right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So your defining event. Yeah. So what kind of personality traits have you gained from this background?
I feel that I am quite. I'm a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to remain a folk hero. I enjoy it. I'm a little bit egotistical. Really good humoured, but I cannot take jibes about myself.
Okay. Yeah. Amazing. And what about what kind of interactions have you as a bugbear that sometimes people treat with suspicion? What kind of interactions have you had with? Have you found them friendly, or have you found that there are rumours of more badly behaved bugbears that you feel grate on you as stereotypes?
Well, that's part of the reason I became a folk hero. I want to show little tiny bugbears coming up that that they have a lot of choices and be kind of a role model.
I love it. Amazing. Yeah. You're trying to help get other bugbears onto the path of the adventurer.
Yeah, just off the streets and on the spores.
Yeah. And is that the bugbear talking, or is that the mushrooms talking?
Never know
anymore.
It's a new youth program.
Yeah.
Here's a mushroom. Go into the room, please. Awesome. Okay. And what about what kind of ideal do you have?
I think kind of that I do believe in fairness and justice and kind of all those good things. I'm quite I like to think I'm quite a good druid bugbear mushroom person. Yep. But also I do enjoy my own comfort. So when there's kind of a little bit of conflict between the easy thing to do and the right thing to do, and might go for the easy thing to do.
Yep. Amazing. Especially if it's eat some friendly mushrooms.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And what are the other ones? So now we have gambler, but I've got to look those up. Unless you've got if you've got personality traits in mind or ideals, then because you're not tied to the ones they've got there. But I'll have to dig out the.
So his personality traits are: he likes people to like him.
Okay. Yeah.
He doesn't like to get into trouble. As in, it's not that he doesn't mind doing things wrong. He just doesn't like to get into trouble. He doesn't like being caught. And he is overconfident.
Amazing. So so you weren't chuffed when they found out that you were cheating.
No, it was extra embarrassing. But then, and that was why he hung around when they all kind of looked the other way, because he was like, of course, it's me. That'll be fine.
Yeah, pulled that one off. No problem.
Yeah.
What game was he playing?
Dice. Playing,
okay.
He was playing equivalent of Yahtzee, I guess. But
okay, yeah. So more of a Yahtzee rather than something like Liar Dice.
Let's say Liar Dice. I like Liar Dice. Whatever, 13s or whatever.
Yep. Amazing. Okay. And what about ideals?
I'm not sure he has particularly. I think he's probably a little bit idealless in that sense. He's quite keen to kind of make the best of life. That's his main ideal. Is just to make the best of life. But if you asked him what that meant, he probably wouldn't know beyond having a bit of money in his pocket and having enough food in his belly.
Okay. Yeah.
And not being chased by anyone.
And not being chased, yeah. Although that's not an ideal. I think he feels embarrassed when that happens, or that probably happens more than he will admit.
In a sense, it's one of my ideals as well. I don't like being chased.
Strong preference.
Yeah, it is. Brilliant. Okay, and we've got the haunted one as well, haven't we now? So what if we? Okay. Personality traits.
Yeah, there we go. So I think I'm going to be a sort of I don't run from evil, evil runs from me, in a sort of trying to be the person that I should have been in my moment of weakness.
Nice.
Overcompensating, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's important to overcompensate because the tail only gets you so far.
But it does get me pretty far, let me tell you. And then we'll go for ideals. I like the sort of I kill monsters to make the world a safer place and to exercise my own demons.
Nice, yeah. Very sort of Daredevil-esque.
Yeah. But hopefully with a better third season.
I heard it was great. I like the other seasons.
We'll go for Bond. Is that next?
Oh yeah. So then with bonds, so these are like personal bonds. What I thought we could do with bonds is probably going round. So Anna, Anna's character forms a bond with Stuart. Stuart's character forms a bond with Gray. Gray's character forms a bond with Deirdre, and then Deirdre with Anna. So so each character has a bit of a connection to another character. Mm. And then we can create additional bonds afterwards if something sort of comes to mind. But I also realised that we don't have any names for our characters. So maybe that should intercede here if anyone's got names.
So sorry, Stuart, but you're going to get lots of inappropriate closeness from me then, because you're my favourite person.
Okay, so why is Stuart's character your favourite?
I mean, he's quite good at heart. I could tell that pretty early on. So I'm just going to try and gently steer him away from the gambling and lying and occasional thieving and things like that. He's my little pet project. Is to make him good.
Okay. You feel like he's a bit directionless, yeah, and you can set him on a better path, kind of thing.
Yeah, and
Okay.
have a goal in life.
Yeah. Perfect.
A small life coach.
tiny invisible life coach.
Who pats you on the knee a lot.
You'll do better next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who I'm always going, I've worked out a system. Why do it?
Yeah.
Next time. Okay. So Stuart, what's your connection to Gray?
I think I saw him kind of speaking in a public square, and thought, I've never seen anything like this. I've got to. What's his angle? Who's he trying to rip off? And I need to know how he's doing it. And
Nice. Ooh, the cynicism.
So it can't just be that the tale is that magnificent. There must be something more.
he's got to be up to something, and I still haven't figured out what it is. And that's basically it's fascinating me.
Nice.
Okay, Gray and Gray to Deirdre.
Oh, so what's you're sort of a folk tale-y type person, and I wonder if I sort of trying to take you, literally under my wing, to try and create you, mold you into the warrior that I never was,
Oh, yes.
to inspire the people.
I like that. Yeah. So
But I will never tell you, and I will always be extra hard on you in that sort of like.
Sort of venting your own feelings.
Yeah, you will never guess that I actually like you.
Yeah. That'll do, Bugbear.
Amazing. Okay, and Deirdre to Anna.
Okay, so all my life, I have tried to be seen and to be as big as possible. And the fact that you are small and that you are invisible a lot of the time is really it's just really inspiring to me. And I admire that about you, because you don't need other people's admiration to be yourself. And it warms my heart, and I'm a little bit.
That's amazing.
Cool.
That's really cool. Okay. Does anyone want any other sort of personal or inter-character bonds? Like if others are on mind, then there's no limit to the number. So, if other things pop up.
I think I'm just going to generally have, there's always time for a little pep talk. I'm going to be one of those slightly annoying halflings who's just in the middle of combat. Good job, everyone! Come on!
You're doing great.
Poke out from the shadows. Go.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so
and we still don't have names, do we?
We still don't have names, and we don't have floors. So I guess now if we do our floors first, then maybe a name will come to mind. If people have names in mind, then we can.
So I've quickly looked up a diagram of bird feathers, and so apparently the little fronds are called veins, V-A-N-E. So I think that's a good name. That sounds like a good.
Yeah, I feel really
good. Yeah, let's go with that.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got Veins, the peacock aracocra. I'm actually googling now peacock aracocra to see what comes up.
Just a picture of me now.
Yeah. Actually, the first image that comes up is pretty impressive. So, oh yeah, I can put it. I can. Actually, I don't know if I can because I don't know what its copyright things are. I was going to say I can put it on Roll20, but I can't. But if you Google peacock aracocra, there's some pretty impressive stuff that comes up.
Excellent.
Awesome. Okay. Does anyone else have their names to mind?
I'd quite like to just be called John.
Yeah, John the Bugbear.
John the Bugbear. Yeah.
Like a bit like Little John.
Yeah, it's just a strong folk hero name.
Yeah. With a really sexy leader.
Yeah.
Like a desirable cartoon fox of our
Yeah.
generation.
Of any generation, I think,
Any generation.
and generations yet to come. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So we've got John. We've got Vane. Is it Vane or Vanes?
Singular. Let's have singular.
Okay.
You
I'm
probably
gonna
think
go for-
RPG is like you.
I'm going to go for Malk, M-A-L-C, half
Yep.
cut.
What was the last?
Half cut. So half cut. As he's a half elf, so it works from that perspective. But also, I think we know where.
Also, so how we're all going to be playing the game on the weekend. Foreshadowing. Classic.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, the narrative writes itself.
I'm gonna use my niece's name, so I'm gonna be Heidi because that's quite cheerful and a bit do-goodish. I hope she doesn't hear me say that.
We'll bleep it out. It's fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And with the John the Bugbear, was John your original name, or do you have another name? And did you pick John or?
Oh, yeah. I feel like John is my name for non-bugbears.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that I also have a bugbear name. I don't really know what their language is, but like it'll probably be like "Rah!" or something, you know.
Yeah, I think they're like it's quite like is it like it's things like Garg or like that kind of like slightly guttural, lots of G's and K's.
Yeah.
I think I tried to find bugbear names. Yeah, it's like I think there's one adventure I played that was called like Kark, like Kaark. It's that kind of
Yeah.
kind of name, I think. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, we've got John the Bugbear. Okay, and what about flaws then?
So I can't see the list, obviously, for Gambler, but I think he's always going to take the riskier option.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Mm.
He's not suicidal, but given two choices, he will nearly always take the one with the greater risk and greater reward.
I see. Okay, yeah. So he's very much a sort of a gambling man. Yeah. As long as there's something. What about if people offer him bets and things? Is he the kind who always is like, yeah, go on then?
I think probably more often than not, but again, not suicidal. So if he can sense he's being set up, he'd be like, no. But
yeah.
if he's in a bar and someone goes, "Do you want to join this game?" He'd be like, "Yeah, why not?"
Yeah. I see. Yeah. Would he be the kind of person to say like, if there wasn't gambling going on before, like, shall we make this interesting, kind of thing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
And again, in things like fights, he will nearly always kind of go, "I could do that, and that would be safe, or I could do this, and if it works, we're all dead." But
Yeah. Perfect. Love it. There's who is it? Does he have like any religious affiliation? Because there is a god of luck. Is it Cymera?
Yeah, let's do that, because I was looking at feats and just if you were planning ahead, there's a luck thing in the wild magic, so that would all fit nicely.
Nice. Okay. Yes, it is. It's Cymera. She's the goddess of Lady Luck. She's the goddess of fortune, of good fortune. She's a good goddess. I think her symbol is like a coin with her face on it. So yeah, you potentially you could be carrying a
Excellent. Okay.
coin around or something. So, amazing. Okay. Okay. Gray. What have we got? We've got haunted. What are the potential flaws for haunted?
So there's one that always thinks the worst in people, or I assume the worst in people. So I think that might be it. It'll be sort of I expect everyone to adhere to my high standards of heroism and nobility because I didn't manage it myself. So really, I'm just this gorgeous bird with a high charisma that everyone's attracted to. And then after 3 minutes of talking to me, you realise that I'm awful.
You're basically Lucifer from the TV series.
I've always thought so.
Okay, no, that's perfect. It's good to have the devil in the midst. And so apparently, as a haunted one, you can have a creepy trinket as well. I've just seen.
Oh, nice.
If you want to roll a D100,
Oh, I definitely want to roll a D100.
then I can let you know what your trinket will be.
Excellent. D100.
We got
So
46.
if you yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, you have the wooden hand of a notorious pirate. How did you end up with that?
I have no idea. I just found it. It was in my pocket one day, and I don't know how it ended up there.
Did you just wake up after a night of sort of raucous drinking, or just
Drinking and lecturing people on how they should be better.
and you ended up with this hand? Are you trying to return it, or do you have any intentions for the hand?
You know, I took it. I took it from a Notorious Pirate because he was all of the things that I absolutely hated in people. I thought he was feckless and would run away from a fight and stuff like that. So I took his hand in a really passive aggressive.
And now somewhere there's a handless pirate like looking for vengeance.
Yeah, who has just got a new hand and didn't think much else of it. You just thought, oh, I'd lost my other hand. Oh well, I'll just buy a new one.
Amazing. Okay. Okay, folk hero. So what floors have we got there?
So I was thinking that I could be like, because I am a folk hero, I could be a bit of a people pleaser, but that could mean that I might not be 100% trustworthy because I'm trying to impress whoever's in the room.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
And I was kind of looking at some of the kind of bugbear traits and qualities, and one of the things is they like to use stolen items. So I wouldn't say that I would steal, but if something was just left by itself in a place, I'd probably take it just to have.
I like that. So it's a little bit of leaning towards like sort of kleptomania, but less active. And
I'd be pretty ashamed of it because it's like a bugbear stereotype.
Yeah, it's like a sort of a hidden shame.
Acting like a common magpie. Disgusting.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a list of bird puns.
I'll work on that. I'll get a page drawn up of bird puns.
And so with your uprising, what was the tyrant doing in to the village? What was the tyrant's main crime against the farmers or the peasants?
He was stopping peasants from getting an education, from educating their children, and also raising taxes.
Disgraceful.
Yeah.
With what kind of village was it? Was it a bugbear village? Was it a human village, or was it quite a mix?
Actually, it was quite a mix. But once once everything kind of started getting a bit harder, there was a lot of conflicts and a lot of mistrust between the different races. So kind of having a folk hero really helped,
Yeah, helped stop the bickering.
Yeah. But also, all the weapons helped too. It was mainly
They always do, really, don't they? Never have too many. Okay, and floors for Far Traveller. Kind of floor does Heidi have?
I'm not sure any of the ones on the list fit particularly well. Maybe the likes to have a drink.
Yeah.
She spends so much of her time making sure everyone else is okay and making sure that people are better than they could be. A little bit like Vane, but without the arrogance. But so when she does, relax, and when she kicks back, she kind of goes to town a little bit with the with the having of the drinking, and could probably be talked into doing something slightly unwise when she's had a few drinks.
Like ordering it in pints.
Pints, yes. Or, you know, she could probably be talked into a game of dice or cards or something like that, and she would be completely wiped out. But then she'd wake up with a raging hangover, and she'd just go and find the person and say, "You could be so much better than this."
Yeah, and the first way to prove it is to give me my money back.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Okay. So we've got our frauds, we've got our bonds, we've got our ideals. So then I think I've got some. There's my little other purple book. Is it on the desk? The little purple book. I've got some magic items, like rolled up because we're starting at level 3. Yay! Thank you. So we've got a few quite random magic items, all from the the Dungeon Master's Guide or Xanathar's Guide. So legit items to kick off with, but you guys can distribute amongst yourselves as you see fit. So we've got about 9 of them. Okay, so we've got a staff of adornment, which is a regular staff, except you can select up to 3 items weighing less than a pound to levitate above it, and you can choose those things to rotate or spin as you like, but they have to be less than a pound, and you can just use it for decorative purposes. Otherwise, it functions exactly like a staff. Oh yeah, you can use it as a weapon, and the items don't fly off or anything. You can use it as a very small scale storage.
A literal wheel of cheese.
Hold on a moment.
Grind.
Let me just. You can put snacks there or something.
We've got exposition coming. Hold on, I just need to get Chris.
Just hold up
my pen.
my spinning wheel of sushi that I keep here at all times.
So we've got that for whoever wants it. So there are 4. These are all 4 of these next ones are sort of quite minor items. So I'll go through all them all, and then you can distribute them as you like. So we've also got probably the most mechanically useful. We've got some 10 pieces of walloping ammunition, which when you hit an enemy with this ammunition, they have to make a strength saving throw of DC 10, or they get knocked prone. So it's quite an easy save to make. So you won't knock many people over with it, but you have 10. It can be any ammunition you want, bolts, arrows, slings, stones, whatever. So we've got 10 of those. We also have a clockwork amulet that originated from Mechanus, and if you hold it to your ear, you can hear a very faint ticking and whirring within it. And once per day, it lets you take a roll of 10 on an attack roll after you've made the roll. So if you roll anything less than a 10 and you think that taking 10 will let you hit this enemy, once per day you can just call on the sort of the lawful orderliness of Mechanus and take a 10 instead of whatever you got. Good for avoiding a critical miss, I guess. And then the final one is a wand of conducting, which 3 times a day you can make motions as if you were conducting an orchestra to summon the sound of an orchestra.
Okay. Does that help?
For very dramatic moments.
I would like that, please.
Yeah. You want the wand of conducting?
Yes, I do.
Nice.
Can I have the staff of adornment?
Yes, the adorning staff. Perfect. You can these don't require your characters to be sort of attuned to them. So you in game you can pass them between each other anyway as well.
Cool.
So we've got a clockwork amulet and walloping ammunition left on.
What would you like, Deirdre? What would you like?
I think I'd probably like the walloping ammunition. It might be a bit more useful to me.
Cool.
Yeah. Very cool. So you've got a clockwork amulet to help, for those days when the charm doesn't quite work. Mechanus has your back. Okay, and then we've got one slightly rarer sort of minor magical item with a helm of comprehending language, which, well, that's what it says on the helm, really. I think that you have to be attuned to it, which means that like during a short rest, you have to sort of become familiar with its working. So you can't sort of swap it around willy-nilly, but you can swap it around over the course of an hour. So yeah, we've got that. If someone wants to be a linguist. And we also don't have to decide who gets what now. These are in a pool. So if it doesn't jump out, then someone's carrying it. But and then we've got the slightly more powerful magic items. So we've got a single potion of heroism, which for 1 hour gives you 10 temporary hit points, and blesses you, which means for the next hour you add a 1d4 to all of your d20 rolls. So it's quite potent. It's good for a few fights if you have them back to back. We've also got the Boots of the Winterlands, which makes you resistant to cold damage, which might be quite good in an undead setting, and also makes you immune to difficult terrain caused by things like ice or snow. And it means that as long as you're wearing the boots, whatever other clothes you're wearing, you can survive very harsh Arctic climates. If you're also wearing warm clothes, as you should have been, you can survive sort of pretty much any level of cold. But you can go out in summer clothes and these boots in the Arctic, and you'll still be fine. And then the final item we got is an instrument of the bards in the form of a lute. And this one lets you cast. It has a list of spells, and you can once per day you can cast one of them. And the list of spells is quite good. You can cast Animal Friendship, Protection from Fire, Protection from Poison, Fly, Invisibility, Levitate, or Protection from Evil or Good. And you can basically once per day you can use one of those spells. So that's probably the most potent of the items.
Cool.
So you have them all. If any of them jump out to your characters, then you can start with them attuned and equipped, or you can divvy them out as you please. Obviously, the potion you can just pass around as you want.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pass around in a hip flask.
Yes, yeah. Or take a swig, get 1 extra hit point, and plus 1 to rolls. I think as for starting equipment, which I think is the last thing on my list, most of it is already decided, but I'll just check if you guys have any choices you need to make. So Ranger, you get to pick. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, okay. So you get to pick. Oh yeah, either scale mail or leather armor. So if depending on whether you want to go light armor or medium armor. I can't remember what your dexterity score is. On your...
19.
Oh, very high. So you probably want to go with light armor because light armor lets you add your dexterity modifier to your armor class as well as the armor. So,
Okay.
So you've got leather armor is probably better there. It also means that you don't have disadvantage on things like sneaking, which can happen if you're wearing medium armor. So then you can either have 2 short swords or any other 2 simple melee weapons. A short sword, you're probably going to be using 1 at a time, aren't you, with your duelist? Yeah. So short swords are good because they let you use dexterity. I don't know what your strength is quite high as well, though, isn't it?
15, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if you use short swords, you can use your dexterity modifier for your attack and damage roll because it's a finesse weapon. I don't know what comes under simple melee weapons, but I think level 20 is oh yeah, things like clubs, daggers, light maces, spears.
So I would probably have a short sword and a dagger.
Yeah, short sword and dagger. Very nice. You then get a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack, which
Explorers would be.
very nice. I can't remember exactly what's in them, but they do what they do. They do roughly what they say.
Yeah.
I can let you know what's in them on the character sheet. And then you get, I think you get a longbow and a quiver of arrows, but I think you're too small to use a longbow.
Oh.
No. So let me double check. I think it's too big. But in that case, do you want to have a short bow instead? I think you can use a short bow.
Yeah, I will have a short bow.
Yeah, a longbow is heavy, so small creatures have disadvantage. If you have a preference for a different ranged weapon, like a sling or a light crossbow or something, then you can have that and the appropriate ammunition if you wanted.
No, I'll stick with the short bow.
Cool.
Cool.
And and you get to choose. Oh yeah, you get to choose 3 skills as well at starting level from animal handling, athletics, insight, investigation, nature, perception, stealth, and survival.
Stealth.
Yep. Good choice.
Sorry, read them out again.
We've got animal. Yes, that's right. We've got animal handling, athletics, insight, investigation, nature, perception, stealth, and survival. You get 3.
Can you go with athletics?
Yeah.
Stealth
Good at running.
and nature.
Very nice. Okay. Awesome. I think that's all the rangery stuff. We've got druid. Let's have a look what you start with. Okay. So, oh yeah. So you get starting. Oh yeah. So you've got the option if you want to take it of using. It's mostly for flavor purposes, really, of using armor and shields that are only made of things like wood rather than metal. If you believe that as a druid that you shouldn't, the smelting of metals and things is against the natural order.
In D&D, does like the wooden stake thing apply to vampires?
Ooh, I believe it does. I believe they follow quite a lot of.
Yeah, wooden armor might be good then.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep. In practice, you can have sort of any type of armor and like that's made of wood. It'd just be harder for you to find replacements.
Don't think we have to worry about that for a 3-hour game.
I think we're okay. Okay, so do you want to start with a wooden shield or any simple melee weapon? Or any simple weapon. So simple weapons are things like clubs. Or you can start with a shield.
Yeah, I think I'd like a shield.
Yep, awesome. So you've got a shield, and then you can also have then either a scimitar or any other simple weapon. So what have we got? I think simple weapons are things like daggers, javelins, light crossbows and things. A sling. If you wanted to use your ammunition, I think you can use. I think you can use slings in one hand.
Yeah. Would a club fall under simple weapon as well?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go for a club then.
Awesome. And then you get some leather armor anyway, or oh no, that's not metal, is it? You get leather armor, an explorer's pack, and a druidic focus, which is what you use to cast spells. It can kind of take any form you want. It might be like a pendant with a tooth on it, or it could be any other sort of trinket. If you have an idea of what it is, then cool. But and then we've just got our monk. I think you don't need any armor, so I don't think you start with any.
No, I don't need any of that.
Oh yeah, so you start with 10 darts. You can have either a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack.
Should we go with Explorer's pack? That sounds fun.
Load of Explorers. And then you can have a short sword or any other simple monk weapon. If I guess as a backup if you don't want to punch them.
Yeah. Do you have like a short baton or some?
Yeah.
Just a club, basically, but a bit fancy.
Like a sort of, like a sort of, like a baton.
Whatever Daredevil uses with his little
like some sort of combination of nunchuck and
drumsticks.
Yeah. Awesome. And you also, and then we've got. It's a bunch too easy because you don't have anything. We've got this finally. What did you get? Oh yeah, okay. So you get a light crossbow and 20 bolts, or any simple weapon. That's also. I don't know which one you. Oh, you start with 2 daggers anyway, as a sorcerer. So you have a preference between a light crossbow and a simple weapon.
Oh, have we lost you?
Hello.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
Hello.
Hello.
We're picking sorcerer starting equipment.
Sorry, go for it.
No worries. So do you want? You start with 2 daggers.
Yeah.
Do you want a light crossbow and 20 bolts, or another simple weapon?
I'll take another simple weapon, I think.
Okay. Do you have a preference for simple weapon?
Does a staff count as a simple weapon?
It does, yeah. Quarter staff.
And
Yeah.
Since I've got the staff of adornment, I'll go with that.
Just use that. And then you can have a component pouch or an arcane focus, which functionally doesn't make much difference, but there's a difference between having a small pouch on your waist that you can that you pull the components out when you cast a spell, or holding like an orb or a rod or something in your hand.
Does that orb weigh less than a pound?
It certainly can. You can actually
Then
use.
I will go for the orb because it's going to rotate around my staff.
Love it.
nice.
And then you get a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack as well.
I'm going to go for a Dungeoneer's pack because it's been Explorers elsewhere. So
Yeah, perfect. Okay. And I think that is everything. I think we've gone through everything there.
Right.
Thank you guys. So if you want to send me what info you've put together for your character, I'll build them into a character and get the rest of the adventure drawn up.
Right.
And then I'll send them back to you in the next couple of days so that you can see the full character sheet and come to terms with what stuff you've got. If you've got any questions about mechanics, I'll go through some of the basics at the start of the session in a couple of weeks, but also feel free to send me questions anyway, and happy to answer.
Great.
Amazing.
Well, thank you very much, Camden and Louise. That was really great. Thank you.
yeah, that's great.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for joining in. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, look forward to it. See you soon.
See you soon, guys.
Great.
See you
Great
soon.
seeing you all, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.